Summer Sweetheart, Chapter 9. Alisa, who gave him the medicine, looked very gentle, so gentle that made Carl a little moved. Then he wanted to touch her. She is his wife, and he takes everything for granted. But for Alisa, he is Luther and Carl's cousin. He molested her repeatedly and kissed her, which was far beyond her tolerance. Alisa pushed him away fiercely and stepped back a few steps away from him and said with a cold face, "Luther, I'm your cousin's wife. Please be respectful." After taking the bullet just now, she didn't hate Luther so much, but she didn't expect him to still be so presumptuous. Carl, with a hint of bewilderment in his nice voice, "Cousin, you are just a widow for a lifetime with my cousin. Don't you want to think about me?" Alisa refused directly and simply, "I don't." With a wooden face coupled with an ugly dress, like little old woman, there is no moving place at all. Carl felt that Alisa's appearance was very vivid. Alisa felt that she could no longer sit and wait for death, which could only make Luther even more unscrupulous. "You can call someone to pick you up, or I'll call an ambulance, and then others will know that you have a gunshot wound." Her voice was so soft, and even if she said threatening words, there was no deterrent. Carl glanced at her, and if he hadn't heard, he just knocked his eyes to rest. She bit her lip, looked at his pale face, and couldn't bear to wake him up and drive him away. Taking advantage of the rest of Luther, Alisa went to the vegetable market. Although she is nominally the third young lady of the Hunt family, she does not have the life of the young lady. Most of the time she is sick and no one cares. When she is hungry, no one asks. Therefore, her life ability is very strong. No matter how she hates Luther, she can't take the risk that he might die and ignore him. She lives very hard and earnestly. She doesn't want to sacrifice his life or give him a funeral. Therefore, she reluctantly boiled soup for him. When night fell, Alisa woke up. "Luther, are you hungry? I made the soup. Would you like to have a little?" She stood 2 steps away from him for a fear that he would do something presumptuous. Carl raised his eyes to look at her and spit out a word like gold. "Yes." Alisa came over with the soup, put it on the small table in front of his bed, and stepped away. But her small single room is too small. In addition to the small kitchen and bathroom partitioned off, a 1.5-meter bed, a small folding table, a small sofa for one person, a bookcase that is not used, a few simple things have already occupied most of the room. No matter how far she jumped, she couldn't get out of Carl's sight. Carl glanced at her and slowly sat up straight, then pulled the quilt away expressionlessly, exposing the blood-stained gauze on his chest, and said casually, "The wound is open." The indifferent tone seemed to be talking about other people's things instead of his life-threatening wounds. Alisa didn't want to care about him but couldn't see it. She could only walk over slowly, holding up the soup bowl in one hand and scooping up the soup with a spoon in the other and handing it to his lips. Carl said nothing to this time, lowered his eyes and swallowed the soup she fed him bit by bit. The small room was quiet, only the two sound of the soup touching the edge of the bowl and the speechless ambiguity spread. Chapter 10. The next day, Alisa was awakened by the ringing of her cell phone. In order to comply with the settings of the modernity, when everyone around her uses smartphones with beautiful appearance and full functions, she still uses the kind of dumb phone that can only call and send messages. Taking the phone, looking at the remarks on it, her mind suddenly became sober. She hesitated for a while before answering the phone. "Dad?" Colin Hunt's voice has always been serious. "You went home yesterday. Who sent you back?" As a father calling a newly married daughter and asking such irrelevant questions, Alisa only felt chilly. On weekdays, Colin rarely called her. He called her suddenly to ask about this and could not help making Alisa doubt his intentions. But she told the truth. "It's Carl's cousin." Colin pondered over there for a while and then said, "If you have time, take your sister to Hearn's house. If there is a suitable young man, please introduce him to her and let her make more friends." Alisa understood the meaning of his words. After she left the Hearns family yesterday, Luther and Isabel may have met. Isabel is very likely to see Luther, so she wants her to match them. The wishful thinking of the father and daughter is really good. Carl clearly made a marriage contract with Isabel, but in the end, she married Carl. Then they would use her as a springboard to find another good man for Isabel as her husband in Adam's house. In the entire Austenville market, no one knows that, except for Carl, all of his cousins and relatives are among the best and outstanding. A trace of self-deprecating appeared in Alisa's eyes. Isabel is Colin's biological daughter, isn't she? How can he be eccentric to this point? Alisa endured the grievances and tried to keep her voice calm. "You want me to take sister to Adam's house, but I haven't seen Carl until now." When Colin heard that, she didn't even see Carl's face and suddenly became angry. "You haven't even seen your husband, you are useless. You still have the face to come home." Alisa's nose sore, she abruptly held back tears. Her voice was as usual. "You sent sister to Adam's house. Maybe Carl would like to see her. I'm fake. Why would he meet me?" Carl, who came out of bathroom, just heard her words. She was sitting on the bed with her thick black hair like seaweed hanging down to her waist, and her fingers with the mobile phone could see the raised blue blood vessels because of too much force. Tears filled her eyes like autumn water, but stubbornly did not flow out. The slender figure looked pitiful. Carl squinted his black eyes and found that the new wife really looked more pleasing to the eye. Not knowing what the person on the other end of the phone said, Alisa's face turned pale. Neither spoke nor hung up. Carl walked over, grabbed the mobile phone in her hand, hung up. "Oh, this woman still uses the kind of phone." Then he looked down at Alisa, unable to hear emotion on his indifferent voice. "If you don't want to listen, just don't listen." Alisa raised her head hurriedly, with tears still in her eyes. She felt that her eyes were blurred. She couldn't see his face at all. But strangely, she heard a touch of comfort in his words. But the next moment, her eyes widened sharply. "Why am I in bed?" She gave up the bed to injured men. She slept on the sofa the night. You climbed upon your own sleepwalking. After Carl said expressionlessly, he walked to the bed and lay down beside her.